Koken here. Today we have an exciting property for you to see, and I have my good friend Leigh here who purchased this property. He's going to be severing the land, and this is going to be a project that he's hoping to turn around in about 6 months. So Leigh, tell us a little bit about this property, and then we're going to go inside and show you guys the home.
It's a really nice property with all of the attributes that you would want to do if you're pursuing severance. It's got about 85 feet of frontage. Over on the north side over there near that telephone pole, that's about where the north property corner is. And then on the south corner over here, again, right near another telephone pole, it's got about 85 feet of frontage. The advantage of this particular property is that it's 165 feet deep. So you've got a lot of room for a nice spacious front and rear yard, side yards, and no issues with lot coverage or anything like that. So it's really got a great opportunity. The nice thing about this one is the house right here is really leaning toward the north end of the property, which leaves us a lot of space on the south end right here as the potential location for the severance, and where we could put a new house, if you could envision it, almost right where this basketball net is over here. So this would be a driveway coming in, and all of this space would have about a 40-foot lot on the south end of the property here, and about a 45-foot lot on the north with the existing parcel. Relatively simple process if we can go through the committee of adjustment, hopefully or presumably with the support of planning staff and a favorable recommendation. We believe that this is consistent with the character of the community, would be a great addition between an existing legal duplex and an existing multifamily residential development as well, and backing onto properties that have similar frontage to what we're proposing here. So while most developers may not have seen the opportunity right away and focused more on the lack of compliance of this lot, I think with a minor variance it shouldn't be a problem to get a consent, given how close it is to the minimum requirements and how big the parcel is. And it's only literally the frontage parameter of the zoning that we're gonna require some relief.
Perfect. All right, let's go check it out. All right, now before we discuss the details about this project in particular, Leigh, why don't you share a little bit about your background, what made you decide to want to do a project like this, and share how your expertise is really coming in handy to pull off something like this.
I'm a registered professional planner. I've been practicing for over 25 years now. I've done a lot of severances and consents and zoning bylaw amendments and those types of things for a variety of clients for quite a period of time. And with Fort Erie being my hometown, I've got a lot of experience in this municipality and very familiar with their zoning, their variance process, and just the people that are involved around here.
Yeah, I remember many times in this search process when I was talking to you, you knew the person in the departments in the city that you would need to call to talk to find an answer about, you know, some question we had about the different properties we were looking at, right? So that really comes in handy if you can get an answer quickly when things aren't quite cookie cutter. Right?
Well, it helps to mitigate the risk that's naturally part of any land development process, in that we can find out what the answers are in advance. If we buy this property, is it going to comply with zoning? If not, you know, when you need a variance of some sort, then maybe what's the probability that it's going to be supported by council, staff, committee of adjustment, or whoever would be involved.
And that's honestly one of the things I learned actually while we were working together from you, that it's not just about what's allowed and what's not allowed, it's about what does the city want, and is what's not allowed something that they still want, which will allow us to potentially create that or ask for permission to do that in a zoning that doesn't quite comply, right? So
historically it's always been that developers have wanted to get more out of property, but over the last 5 years or so, with the provincial policy statement really encouraging intensification and infill development, it's becoming more often the case that you come forward with, I've got a vacant piece of property, I'd like to do something with it. You're talking to staff, say, I want to put 8 townhouses on here. Well, you know what, we're thinking of something more intense for this location, and we want you to put up a 6-story apartment building. Wow. That never used to be the case. Now, you know, with true planning policies that are encouraging, intensification and developing higher, not broader,
Yeah.
you know, preventing sprawl is really.
And it's necessary, right? We have a population surplus and a shortage of homes in this province, in most of the cities. So they're starting to realize that, hey, we need to do something to spur development, to allow people to build, right? So I think that's a nice side effect when it comes to these type of projects, right?
Yeah, and also very consistent with provincial policy statement in that it's an efficient use of infrastructure and land. I've got a project that I've worked on and have a minor share portion of the ownership of, not too far from here, literally on the same street within a block of this location, that is proposing significant increase in density from what the official plan had previously stated. But one of the most, you know, hit at home type of realities was we've got 230 units in this building. How big a subdivision would you have to make to have 230?
Yeah.
You can do that on an acre or two here in the urban area versus using up vast amounts of agricultural land or those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So Leigh, tell us a little bit about what made you, so you've been doing this for a while, but more as a consultant, helping developers, helping, you know, investors who own these type of properties, and that was the work you did for a long period of time. But more recently, you've decided, hey, I want to be the investor. I want to play an active role, buy your own property, do this yourself. What made you make that sort of leap from working as a consultant to almost the investing and the land development side of things?
Yeah, last year in 2020, I had a bout of cancer, which required me to take some time off where I was managing a planning department for a larger consulting firm that I was a partner of. But, you know, sitting at home on your back type of thing while you're healing, you know, caused a lot of thought. What do I really want to achieve with my life? And, you know, doing some consents on my own more recently, getting appraisals for the payment of cash in lieu of parkland that's typically required for such development projects. Realizing that you're creating a lot in one case was worth, I remember getting the appraisal and it really struck home, $231,000 for a relatively large but a vacant lot in a rural area that was like, it really didn't do much. It took me maybe 40 hours of labor to achieve that over a 4 to 6 month period.
Yeah, and it's such a good perspective. Like many of you watching and many of our clients kind of have the same thing, right? They have many times lucrative jobs, good careers, but at some point along the way, those that take the step to switching from earning an income to building equity get rewarded very well for it, right? Even if it's something as simple as, you know, putting a down payment on a rental and just keeping it for the long term while still creating a, you know, a good living for yourself. But in your case, given your background and your specialty, you can use those skills to further now you're investing on the equity side, where you're trying to create equity and value through this process. So I'm really excited with working with you, by the way. It's been a blast the last few months. We've been looking at countless deals, trying to find the different opportunities, and it's something different from what we usually do, but it's along the same train of thought. We're trying to find and unlock value where it exists using almost the information advantage that we have, right? You know, previously it was creating legal basement apartments, and we just knew the rules of the city we operate in. We knew what they were going to ask for, and we knew, okay, these type of properties work, and we had an advantage that not everyone else in the market had, right? And with something like this, with your expertise especially, these type of projects, you don't want to just find any random piece of property with a 80 or 100-foot frontage and buy it and hope for the best. That's not the way you do this type of project. You need to know, ideally, before purchasing it, like at least with some certainty, 70-80% certainty, that it is most likely going to be possible to split it based on what the city is asking, right? So
yeah, and you know, like you say, it's really comes down to risk mitigation. And you know, you mentioned 70-80%, you know, that's even too much risk for me. If I'm not 90% sure that I'm going to be able to accomplish my goal, you know, I'll walk from it. And like you say, there are so many little things out there that could come back and make a project far more difficult or maybe not even possible.
Yeah.
That really makes it difficult. And that's why I get a lot of people who ask me, hey, I'm looking at buying this piece of property, what do you think? And to be honest, 4 out of 5 times I'm saying don't do it.
Yeah.
Because there are provincially significant wetlands, floodplains, some type of issue, or a zoning issue, or a history of archaeology, something like that can end up costing you a lot of money down the road. But out of people's ignorance, they just don't understand what the real risks are. Yeah, it looks like a nice open vacant field, but archaeology can be $500,000 issue.
And that's not information that you get from looking at a listing. You don't, like, it's not explained to you that, hey, you can do this or you can't do this. You need to know who to ask, what to ask for, to know what is the potential of a piece of property. So that's where the information advantage goes a long way to reduce the risk, but still uncover these opportunities where there is potential to sever a land. We're looking at some parcels of land now that after splitting, they can sell anywhere from, like, on the low end 125, 150,000, but on the high end 300, 350,000 for just the piece of land that you split off, and you still get the house, which you can also sell or keep, right? It's up to you, but there's a lot of value that's unlocked through this process. So
yeah, the way the land development industry's been going recently, there is a high demand for vacant lots to build people's dream homes.
Yeah.
They want, you know, I want new.
Exactly.
You actually hear it all the time.
Exactly. And what we've been seeing is, as the value of properties increase, the value of land is seeming to increase at a faster pace than the overall real estate market, which is very surprising, but it kind of makes sense, right? Like, if you really think about it, a property consists of land and the house on top of the land. The house on top of the land over time loses value, it deteriorates, it becomes old, it needs work. The land, though, increases in value. So when we see these overall spikes in the real estate market, we're seeing the land value sometimes move at almost twice the speed as the overall market, which is, it's very surprising, but it's also something to look forward to. This property, you were able to purchase it for
$541,777.
So we used our little strategy to go in with the 777, and a little bit under what we were initially budgeting as our high end as well, right? We were able to bring it down by about 10,000. And then this property, we're planning on splitting about, what's the frontage of the lot we think we can split?
The total frontage of the entire parcel now with the existing legal duplex is just shy of 85 feet.
Okay.
And anticipating severing off a new 40-foot lot for the development of a single family home with an accessory apartment, which is legal in this district. And we're right beside an existing multiple residential dwelling and this. So I don't envision any issues. I've already, you know, talked to planning staff, talked to council members, just to get a sense of the viability of the project. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't, you know, opening a can of worms where I wasn't going to be able to finish the project. But, you know, certainly the existing home is very solid. It's in good shape. It's already got a front and a rear apartment with a largely unfinished basement that we're going to work on cleaning up a portion of. And it's partially finished down there in that there's another bedroom and a kitchenette.
There's like an in-law suite down there, which is actually not bad. It's additional living space for the main unit. And yeah, it's definitely a usable space down there as well. We were so surprised when we saw the property, just all the work that had been done to the property. Exterior waterproofing, big windows in the basement, upgraded you know, furnace system, right? So
on-demand hot water. The electrical is all relatively new. It's not knob and tube old stuff by any means.
So it was surprising to see that, but still there's a good bit of cosmetic work that you're going to do to freshen up this property. And then the goal is, after severance, sell the land and sell the property. Though this is a property you could keep, it may actually cash flow with the front to back units. But the goal here is more to unlock the value through the land severance process, take those proceeds, move on to another project that has something similar. Especially because of your background, it makes sense to focus on that area that you specialize in, right? So
absolutely, at least initially, while I can focus more on what I've got experience doing, which is doing severances, creating new parcels and selling them both. I haven't got a lot of experience as a landlord. And you know, not a lot of desire to invest a lot of time doing that right now. But I certainly understand the value of doing that. For a lot of people, make a lot of money being landlords over a period of time. So I could see my business plan evolving from
maybe you keep a couple of properties here and there where it makes sense.
Right, and you know, once I've built up sufficient equity in doing the severances.
Yeah, so this is a very exciting project. We're going to bring you back as this project completes, and definitely once it's all said and done, I think we should sit down and really go through the numbers, you know, what was all the different costs involved, because there's many different costs that come into play with a land severance. Even for someone like you who knows what you're doing, you don't need to hire a consultant to do anything. You're doing the work. You still have legal fees, surveyor fees,
land transfer tax,
some fees with the city as well, right? Depending on how, I guess, difficult. Like this one, we're going to do is it a minor variance or a full variance? Or what is it?
I'm expecting it's going to be a minor variance, but there is the possibility that it could be a zoning bylaw amendment, site specific. I really need to see the survey, which is already in progress. Field work's been done. They're still working on the drafting to verify exactly where that property line is going to be that divides it into two. Because if it's that tight that if it's 1 foot here or there, it could change the process. And a minor variance, which goes before the committee of adjustment, and you know, relatively low application fee of say $1,000 or something to that effect. You go into a zoning bylaw amendment, your application fee is probably closer to $8,000. And your time frame, you're going to be going before council, you're going to have a public open house and mandatory public meeting, and it's going to be a lot more onerous and take a longer period of time. So obviously I was leaning towards and presuming that it was going to be minor variance, and it certainly could go down that path, but we'll have to take the lead from council members and planning staff on determining. It's not whether or not it can happen, it's exactly how is it going to happen.
For sure. So the hope here is, if it is a minor variance, if things go smoothly, the goal is to turn around this project in about 6 months, give or take, right? So that's just the general time frame with these projects that are relatively simpler. The more complex you get, they can drag on for multiple years. Well, some developments take like decades even, right? If it's complex enough. But anyways, 6 months is a nice time frame. Timing also worked out. We bought it in the fall. Hopefully it should be ready for the spring market if all goes well. And yeah, fingers crossed. This is a very exciting project for me to be part of.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's one thing. Everybody says you can't create more land, but you can create more lots on that same amount of land.
Absolutely. So, hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. We'll definitely be back to check out this project as it goes along. And yeah, once it's done, we'll definitely do a full financial breakdown. If you're interested in investing in the Niagara region, definitely check out our free beginner's guide to investing in the Niagara region. We'll leave a link in the comments below. Until next time, all the best.